Welcome back to the Daily Nugget, Daily Property Insights. One topic, 20 minutes or less, 7 days a week. Myself, Lotze, and joined by Andrew Armstrong, a mortgage specialist and fellow property investor. Now, AJ, the question to you today is around auctions from a buyer's point of view and what the buyer's options are if an auction is passed in. What do they have, or what is sort of the guide points to help them see if they can still get their property? And also a second part to that is there some benefits to buyers at the moment going to auctions as well?
Yeah, well, it's sort of an interesting topic, really, because as you know, from the 1st of December, there were a lot of changes in the credit contracts and the Consumer Finance Act, the CCCFA, that dirty word right now, which has made a lot of people either not able to bid at auction or a little bit more cautious, whichever it is. As a result, auction clearance rates have significantly dropped.
Yep.
And as a buyer, I guess, if you're pre-approved and interested in the property, what it might mean, if you're ready to go on the night, you might get a deal. And in fact, I saw one recently in Mount Albert where a property which would have sold for probably 2.3 million, a month prior, sold for about 1.9 in that sort of golden triangle there. And I sort of thought, well, man, good on these buyers, because they should have been expected to pay the higher price, but they got it for a song. 1.9 is not a song, but relative to what the property would have sold for. So I guess, and what does that mean for buyers? If you're not pre-approved, a couple of things can happen. One, it sells below what it should have sold for, or two, it'll get passed in. And then it's like, well, what does passing in mean? It means that the property is taken out of the auction floor, it's taken back to the vendor, and then it is likely that property will come up for negotiation. And at that stage, you might go straight to the agent and go, hey, look, I'm willing to offer X, Y, and Z conditional on not sale purchase agreement, sorry, a valuation or due diligence or whatever it was that you weren't able to do prior to that auction in order to be successful. And toning it down a bit, that might be looking to buy your first home at, say, $1.1 million, but you've only got a 10% deposit, assuming that you've still got that approval there. But it's subject to me getting a registered valuation and or doing something else, KiwiSaver withdrawal, or who knows. So there's definitely an option to be able to get in there and negotiate.
So obviously one thing to note, as you mentioned and anyone picked up, is when a property is passed in an auction. So obviously, to people that don't know, when you go to an auction and you put your hand up and you buy the property as is, where is, and there's no conditions on the contract. You've got to have done all your due diligence before ahead of time. So this is why sometimes it becomes really expensive going to auctions, because you've got to have spent the building inspection and all those other reports before ahead of time. But when a property gets passed in, that requirement falls away. Now it becomes like as if you're buying it by price by negotiation. So as AJ said, you can start putting conditions on. So a property passed in might give you more benefit than you realize, because you can now put an offer down, but you can also now counter it with some conditions that suit yourself more than you would have had to done if it was just an auction.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also gives you an indication of where the vendor's thoughts are sitting, where are they? Well, they're not willing to take anything less than that. And if your expectation was higher than the minimum bid, then you can negotiate quite well in that space.
Yeah, it is. I'm guessing it's an interesting space. I mean, auctions were obviously the bee's knees 2021, but obviously with the new CCCFA and a few other guidelines and changes, it might change for 2022, and we'll see what goes on. It's a big strategy from real estate agents. I mean, the real estate agents drive from the vendors of whether to go to auction or price by negotiation. So I'll give it another 90 days till we see a big change from auction side to price by negotiation again, as selling options. Yeah,
there's certainly a lot more properties being listed with alternative methods of sale, negotiation, tender, inquiries over. Still some options, but as you say, last year it was all auction. You very rarely did you find something with a tender or anything on it. So
well, when a government prints money to keep the economy going, you just do this auction because there's too much money in the marketplace to spend. So that's the best way, right?
Oh, that's right. And there were people out there going, "Hey, I had this approval, so I just went and used it." It's like,
Yeah.
you paid how much for what and which town?
Yeah. Oh yeah, look, I've seen some deals come through just from people I know, and the numbers have just been from last year. I know of $3, $4, $5 million purchases, and you look at yourself, and I couldn't imagine having a $5 mortgage. $5 million mortgage, right? Or waking up every morning and seeing that debt in the bank, with mortgage rates going up to what 4-5% as they are at the moment.
Yeah, well, hey, look, it's for every $1 million and they go at 1%, that's 10 grand extra per year. You've got to figure out, right? You imagine it with 5 times that, or even $10 million worth of debt, $100,000. You're going to come and find that at least for a 1% growth, and often they're 1.5%. So there's certainly some considerations in that space for people selling and buying and everything in between. But that's probably a chat for another day.
Yeah, totally. Thanks for that, Andrew. And for anyone else, as always, if you have any questions or queries, please drop it in the comment section below, depending where you're watching or listening. And as always, thanks for coming over to the Daily Nugget, Daily Property Insights. One topic, 20 minutes or less, 7 days a week.